The story goes back to 15 years ago when Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom used to study together in the same university. They happened to share the same room in the hostel. Victor was a poor but very intelligent student. It helped him secure different scholarships to keep his studies going. On the other hand, Tony was a little bit reckless as he was the heir to the Stark Universal Industries, but he was God-gifted with his abilities and powers. In the beginning, they didn't get along well. Tony used to tell Victor to relax and let his back mind do the work. Victor shared his struggles with him and told him how he had to fight for every grant and every scholarship, unlike Tony, who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But Tony made him realize that if he focuses on these trivial things so much, they would lead him to mistakes. Tony once corrected him in a science equation, and that impressed Victor. Finally, irritation became the grudging respect, and their passion for science forged an unbreakable bond between them. They became friends, but Victor had malicious intent towards Tony Stark. He manipulated Tony to help him invent a machine that would trigger the dormant telekinesis abilities and help people move and control things with their mind. He stated that this machine would be a big relief to quadriplegics, as they are devoid of all the limbs. Tony, who was a kind-hearted person and always ready to help people, agreed to help him. Days passed. They kept on toiling hard to make the machine work, and finally it was ready to be tested. Victor convinced Tony to be the first person to test it, and as soon as Tony sat on the chair, both his wrists were locked with restraints as Victor sat on another chair of the machine. This was the moment Victor revealed his evil intentions and told Tony that this machine would exchange their mental energy from cerebral cortexes, and at the end of this reaction, Tony would become Victor, and Victor would become Tony Stark. He also told him that at the end of this reaction, Tony Stark would lose his memory, power, and everything he had. Victor said this was the only way left for him to secure the resources he required, and then activates the machine. The noise of this energetic reaction was heard by the security guards nearby, and as they reached that place, Tony had already been converted to Victor Von Doom, and Victor was converted to Tony Stark. Victor, who was now Tony Stark, claimed in front of the security guards that Tony, who was now Victor Von Doom and had lost all his memories, tried to trick him. From what they could see, the guards thought it was the original Tony Stark, and they believed him. This resulted in Victor Von Doom being expelled from university. The young man, Victor Von Doom, who was once Anthony Stark, arrived on Latverian soil in exile and disgrace. He had no memory of his past, no money, and he was doomed and hopeless. On the other hand, Tony Stark, who was once Victor Von Doom, breathed a sigh of relief and freedom in his new body. He became powerful and later on became the chairman of Stark Universal Industries after the death of Tony's father. Nobody knew how he died, and it remained a mystery. On the other hand, new Victor Von Doom was in confusion and despair that freed his inner demons, but he finally managed to realize his true potential that helped him get rid of his inner demons. He got admission into a university and graduated with a PhD. Victor Von Doom, who was ditched by his own fate, now became Dr. Victor. The new Tony Stark was a greedy person whose thirst for power would make him go to every extent of immorality. He would achieve his goals by threatening and forcing people. On the other hand, Dr. Victor made many new inventions, and with the money he earned from them, he managed to form the Doom Industries to make Latveria free and strong, to help his people. Tony Stark was told that the Latverian technology, who was already competing Stark Universal Industries, had invented an arc reactor that would be the end of Stark Company. They were planning to test a full-size prototype in a complex near Latverian capital, and its success would be a huge blow to Stark and his company. In order to keep them from this experiment, Stark wore his battlesuit, which he had invented to sell for huge profits, and it could be used to fight prototypes. On the other hand, Dr. Victor had made a rescue suit to help him and his people at times of emergency and environmental hazards. It was designed to be used after disaster and not to prevent it. As he heard the news, he improvised using his scientific abilities and wore it, approaching the site of attack. The Destiny had other plans. It made the two independent paths collide again that would change their lives forever. Yes, Tony Stark and Dr. Victor met once again. Tony Stark destroyed the building of Doom Industries, downloaded the key technology of the arc reactor into his suit, and tried to escape. But Dr. Victor stopped him using magnetic attractor beams, which were meant to lift debris from collapsed buildings in the first place. But as Tony Stark was wearing metal armor, he was attracted by those magnetic beams. Tony Stark launched rockets from his battlesuit in response, but Dr. Victor reversed them by reversing magnetic beams, and Stark was shot down. Tony Stark told Dr. Victor that he won't let him live now and attacked him once again with the laser beam. Dr. Victor was out of magnetic beams, and there was still some rockets left in Tony Stark's suit. Dr. Victor thought that Stark's system must be working just like his own, that is, cybernetically. With the help of brain scanners present in his rescue suit to assess brain injuries, he tried to identify Stark's brain patterns so that he could duplicate his frequency and override Stark's mind. In this way, he succeeded in sending a counter signal to ignite the rockets before they were even launched, and Stark was badly injured. Dr. Victor told him that his arrogance had brought him to this point, and now he, Stark, had to spend all his life in the prison. Stark told Victor about everything he did to him in the past, and offered that he would make him, that's Dr. Victor, Tony Stark again if he spared him. In this way, he would be able to get back his name, his legacy, and all the things he lost. But Dr. Victor rejected his offer, saying that the world has now associated Tony Stark's name with greed and tyranny, so he doesn't need it back. And now, he is Dr. Victor, a respectable man. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.